Hello, my name is Mankey, and welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 Days. No, your eyes did not deceive you. This is the rematch of Super Bowl 27 being played out in Super Bowl 28. It is January 30th, 1994 at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, between the Dallas Cowboys, fresh off a win in the Super Bowl again for the first time in 15 years, defending their Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills, who made it to their fourth straight Super Bowl. Something that no other team in the history of professional sports have ever done in so while. Well, you can say like in NHL hockey or in baseball, of course, but we're talking about NFL, of course. So I have good news and bad news. The good news is Buffalo Bills made it to four Super Bowls. That is incredible, historical nature, and all kinds of stuff. The bad news is they can't even win one to save themselves. The first one was a heartbreak. The second one was an absolute meltdown. The third one was a beatdown. This fourth one feels like they are consigned to their own fate that they just cannot even win. And I'm recording this on Christmas Eve in 2025 at 8:19 p.m. This video will be out on the 5th of January 2026. Buffalo Bills have not made it to the Super Bowl since this Super Bowl. They have not even made it since. It will be 32 years since Buffalo has ever tasted a Super Bowl or even reached there. I mean, it's not that winning Super Bowl is bad enough. I mean, these fan bases are the most wild, notorious. They jump off tables, they pour mustard and ketchup on their faces. They are the more wild and proud franchises in the history of the NFL. And they're not as horrible as Browns, but they're more cathartic and heartbroken as like the Lions, of course. And even the Lions themselves have not made the Super Bowl, of course, in their history. They made it to a few NFL championships way back when, but in terms of Super Bowl, they are not even take a lick. At least you can say that, Buffalo has made it to four Super Bowls in the 90s, which is at least something else. But, to not win one in those four trips in a row with all these good players that you have, yeah, that is just painful. Absolute pain. And we're gonna end the pain and misery of the Buffalo Bills by looking at this game in stats and all the context. Cowboys win their fourth Super Bowl 30-13 over the Buffalo Bills. Troy Aikman was absolutely, well, not great in this game. 19-27 for 207 yards and an interception. Jim Kelly, not as great either. 31-50 for 260 yards and an interception. So both quarterbacks were just not effective in this game. So it's all come down to the running backs. And Emmitt Smith, who single-handedly carried the Dallas Cowboys to win their division with one arm. He literally have to rush the entire Cowboys defense with one arm to clinch a division against the Giants in Week 18. Now, if you're thinking, oh, I came Week 18 in 1994, well, today we have Week 18, but it's only like two buys in Week 18 back then. We only have the one bye in this current iteration of the NFL season, unless CBA and scheduling and all kinds of stuff will change all of that. But for now, the current situation is that Emmitt Smith just ran over this Buffalo Bills team. 30 carries. Yes, 30 carries for 132 yards at 4.4 a pop and two touchdowns. Literally named MVP of the Super Bowl on the spot, and well deserved, of course. Kenneth Thomas, 9 rushes for 38 yards, 4.22 on the pop. And Thurman Thomas, hello, he finally gets some touches on the ball and managed to get more than 20 yards. He finished 16 carries for 37 yards and 2.31 a pop. Yeah, just not good enough, of course. For the receiving, Michael Irvin, 5 catches for 66 yards and 13.2 a pop. Jay Novacek, 5 catches for 26 yards and 5.2 a pop. Emmitt Smith, 4 catches for 26 yards and 6.5 a pop, which means he managed to accumulate 158 yards all-purpose in this entire game. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Alvin Harper, 3 catches for 75 yards and 25 a pop, and those are the Dallas receivers. For the Bills, Bill Brooks, 7 catches for 63 yards and 9 a pop. Thurman Thomas, 7 catches for 52 yards a pop and 7.43. Don Beebe, who scored 2 of the most meaningless touchdowns in Buffalo Bills history, catching 6 catches for 60 yards and 10 a pop, so he did nothing. or something, but nothing in the grand scheme of things. And Andre Reed, 6 catches for 35 yards at 12.25 a pop. For the defense, though, Dallas, James Washington. I think he deserved like an MVP, of course, in some cases. Interception, 46-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown, and a forced fumble. The absolute dominant trifecta, of course. Tony Tilbert and Jimmy Jones with a sack. Tony Casillas and Jim Jeffcoat and Charles Haley would have a sack each. Thomas Everett, 5 tackles. Ken Norton Jr., 4 tackles. Darren Woodson, 2 tackles and fumble recovery. Leon Led have a forced fumble, so at least he didn't goof that one up. Nate, for the Bills defense, Nate Otis with interception and 2 tackles. Jeff White with 2 tackles. Darrell Taylor with 8 tackles. Let me just retrack again. Nate Otis for Buffalo Bills, interception, 2 tackles. Jeff Wright, 2 sacks. Thank you, 2 sacks. Darrell Talley, 8 tackles. Cornelius Bennett, 7 tackles. Kenneth Davis, fumble recovery. And that is all for the defense, in which you say that Dallas defense was way more affected than the Buffalo D. Special teams and kicks, Andy Murray. I was thinking of our comedian Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murray, 3 for 3 PATs and field goals. All perfect. Steve Christie, 1 for 1 PATs and 2 for 2 field goals. Perfect. Total yards, Dallas 341 to 314 Buffalo. 1 turnover for Dallas, 3 for Buffalo. So in the 2 games, in fact, I think we could just do ourselves I think it's time for me to do myself a little history in all the Super Bowls. If I were me, let me just go over some of the history right now, in which all the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, and I think we have a pretty occurring theme in all those Super Bowls. So if you look at the first Super Bowl they were in, they had no turnovers, and yet they lost the game. The second Super Bowl they've been there, they had 5 turnovers to 1. The third one, 9 turnovers, and the final one, 3 turnovers. That means that the Buffalo Bills have committed 17 turnovers to the opponent's 3 in those 4 Super Bowls. 17 turnovers in those 4 Super Bowls. That is 4 turnovers per Super Bowl. If you committed 17 turnovers in those 4 Super Bowls, you ain't never going to win a game. You ain't never win a Super Bowl. And that's pretty much the thing that Buffalo Bills have. They had incredible offenses, but they just always keep shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to big pressure moments. And don't get me wrong, they had to face a really good Giants defense with Lawrence Taylor, a really good, Washington team, of course, under Joe Gibbs, and 2 amazing Jimmy Johnson teams with Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and all the great defenses from Dallas. So they had to face some really good, stronger positions. But to lose and to cough up the ball so many times, it just doesn't feel great. Just doesn't feel great for a Buffalo perspective. For Dallas, back-to-back Super Bowls with this team, with the Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones combo. And you think to yourself, okay, this might last forever. This might last for eternity, of course. So many Super Bowls, so many winning, all this kind of stuff is going to last forever. Here's a spoiler alert for you guys. The next 2 episodes, the next episode after this will be Super Bowl 30. And I have some really grave news. Jimmy Johnson will not be coaching this team. It'll be someone else doing the work. And it'll be someone else to be having a chance to win a Super Bowl. Do you want to know who it is? Do you want to find out who it is? What I got to do in for the next 2 days, of course, in order to calm down. But as for them, it is a 4 falls for Buffalo in terms of the Bills, and 2 Dallas of glory for the Dallas Cowboys. And that should wrap up Super Bowl 28 review. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We are 36 days till Super Bowl. I think you could say 36 days. Yeah, 36 days until Super Bowl. So if you want more content and more Super Bowl reviews, please like and subscribe to all that kind of stuff. And maybe I can do some classic games, of course, while in the off season. I guess. Anyways, thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time. And peace.